Hey guys, welcome back to stm32 coding for everyone, where we are basically discussing the various methods of performing an analog to digital conversion using the stm32 microcontroller. I'm using the F3 Nucleo. You can use a discovery board or any other version of your microcontroller to perform these tasks. Now, in the previous tutorial, we saw how to perform a simple analog conversion using the ADC polling method, which is basically based on a single conversion. In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at how to perform an ADC conversion using the continuous conversion mode, which I have already made a copy of the previous project and renamed it to continuous conversion method. That way, I'm keeping all the settings of the previous tutorial in this project here. So right now, if I load this program, I'm going to get exactly what I got on the single conversion mode. Now, the difference between the two is very simple, is that in the continuous conversion mode, as the name implies, continuous, your ADC engine actually doesn't rest. So it continues to the next conversion once it completes the previous conversion. Now, this is particularly important for certain electronics application where you want some degree of accuracy. So you want your ADC engine to actually carry on converting so that you don't lose any amount of data. Now, that degree of accuracy also goes together with the mode in which you are basically using your ADC. So if we just jump into the ADC initialization here function, we basically going to notice here we are using this in 12-bit mode, which basically give us the highest value of discrete level to be 1495. It's basically 1496 minus 1 for practicality. So that number is basically 2 to the power 12. So if we decrease the ADC to 10-bit, we're going to get 1023 or 1024. So this just decrease the resolution or the accuracy of our ADC. Now, you can basically mix match using the continuous conversion mode and also choosing the resolution or the bits in which you want your ADC to perform. So all these will be informed by the type of application that you want to build, right? So now let's head on into the IOC interface here, basically where we're going to further perform some changes so that we can achieve this ADC continuous conversion mode. Great. So before we perform the required changes to perform the continuous conversion method here, I would like just to ask, if you find this tutorial useful, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. That will be highly appreciated. And also subscribe to CMTEQ channel. Thank you so very much for that support. Okay, so as you can see here, my STM32 microcontroller configuration pins out here is basically to enable the LCD connection. I've got all these PC0 to 3 and my ADC is on PA0, right? So that's a green wire there that's connected to PA0, right? And the other pins are also for the LCD. Okay, great. Now, when you enable your ADC here, channel 1 on single-ended, basically these settings are going to pop up. Okay, so now this is a polling method, basically the single conversion method. Now, to enable the continuous conversion method, all you have to do is to basically enable this method here. As you can see, continuous conversion method is disabled. You need to enable this. Great. Now, there are some other parameters that we also need to change here. We're going to look at them. Great. Now, these parameters, for instance, let's first take a look at the first 3 parameters here. Okay, so the clock prescaler and the resolution. Now, the clock prescaler, as you can see here, right, the ADC is running in asynchronous clock mode. Now, this basically means it is running independent of the main clock source. Now, this clock source, basically the frequency in which the ADC is running is the frequency of the peripheral bus that the ADC is connected, right? So when we look into here, we can see that it is 64 megahertz. Now, the other buses might be running on different clock source. Our only main focus is the ADC clock source. Now, you can take that frequency of 64 megahertz and apply a division here by 24, and that will slow down your frequency. But also remember, on the resolution, since we're running on 12-bit mode here, there is a couple of modes we can select. The lowest is a 6-bit mode. Now, the higher the resolution, the more clock source you're going to need. Okay, that is why by default, as we select the 12 bits here, the clock is also set at the highest here so that we can use the full frequency of that peripheral bus. Okay, now the data alignment here, the data alignment basically is right alignment. That is good for us. We don't have to change it. Now I'm going to just decrease the resolution to 10-bit resolution. So this is basically just for testing, right? So if you are setting up your ADC for a particular application, you will know the type of resolution you might need, whether you need a higher or a lower resolution. That will be up to you. For example, if you want to set up the ADC to do light conversion, basically ambient light sensing. Now, if you want to detect the changes in the light level as the day progresses, for instance, you want to detect the light outside, then you might need a higher ADC resolution so that you can detect the minimum change in the light level. Great. Now let's scroll down here to other parameters that's matter to us. So ADC regular conversion, okay, that's good. There is nothing we can change here. Now we've got under ADC regular conversion, there's something of particular interest, that is the rank here. So let's expand that, and we're gonna realize that here we've got number of channel and the sample time, basically the number of cycles that you're going to do per conversion. Okay, now here there's only one channel here, and that is precisely because we are only dealing with the one channel here. Now when you are dealing with multiple channel, okay, let's say we add another channel here, single-ended, okay, so that's going to pop up here on PA1. So here basically with multiple channel, we can select, or basically we can set up our code to basically decide which channel must basically sample first, which channel must do the ADC conversion, followed by the other channel, so that we can maybe we want to see what we get on channel 1, and then based on that we can decide what we need to do with channel 2. So that basically what you can have with multiple ADC channel, or you can also have them running very much independently. So let's go ahead and disable that channel 2 so that we can just focus on the PA0 channel that we are running right now. Then we've got a sample time, which is right now set to 1.5 cycle, and it can go all the way to 601.5 cycles. Now the sampling time here also has to do with the accuracy of your ADC, right? The accuracy of the conversion and the stability as well, right? How long it has to wait, how many samples it has to take, right, before it can actually execute an ADC conversion. Great. So you just need to bear in mind that the sampling time will affect the accuracy and the speed of your ADC conversion. So I'm going to just change it here for testing, and let's set this to 181 cycle as a sample times. Great. So that basically all we need to do. We don't have to change anything under these ADC injected conversion mode. That is not what we are using here. We're basically on a simple continuous conversion mode. Great. So there is nothing else we need to do here, right, as far as I'm concerned in this simple test here. So we can go ahead and generate our source code here. Great. So as we wait for the code generation to complete, just in a few seconds. Great. Now that we are here, this is where we're going to see the importance of basically just making copies of a project and then continue working from there. Okay, so now in this ADC Continuous Conversion Mode, unlike the previous polling method where we needed to do the initialization, basically to start the ADC and then run the polling conversion and also get the value, and running all of that inside the while loop here. Okay, now in this continuous conversion mode, we do not need all of that. So all we need is basically to start the ADC conversion, and that can be made outside the while loop. And then from there, we only need the ADC get value. So we already have the global variable sensor val that we basically define or declare here, okay, and initialize to 0, where we basically using to store the value that we're getting from the ADC. So here we're just going to do a few things. So I'm going to cut here, or copy, cut, right, and I'm just gonna paste it right just here. Okay, then I'm going to remove the ADC polling conversion because we do not need it. Okay, Then we're gonna leave the sensor value that's getting the value from the ADC get value function. Okay, now since we've removed that ADC polling method, we don't need a timeout. So let's go ahead and remove the timeout, or either comment the timeout. Then we only be left with a sensor val. So this is basically all we need here. And the rest of this code, as you all know, it is basically to display the value onto the LCD display. Great. So if we jump into the initialization just quickly here, ADC initialization, you're going to realize that we are now using it in 10-bit mode as we change it, and the continuous conversion mode here is basically enabled. Great. So let's go ahead and load this. Okay, 10-bit mode basically means 2 to the power 10, which basically gives us the 1023 as the maximum number of discrete level that we can get. Okay, so let's load this, and we should be getting the 1023 as a maximum because my potentiometer wiper is already at the highest level for the ADC value. Okay, just a count up, 5, there we go, 1023. So if I swing the potentiometer here, just to go down, let's go the other way. As you can see, we're gonna go all the way down to 0, right? This is a continuous conversion method of ADC, and the maximum discrete number of discrete level is 1023. Right now, if you want to see on your debugger, just run the program on debugger mode. Okay, and that should be able to launch the debugger window, and we can monitor the sensor global variable that we declared there. Switch to debugger mode. Okay, let's just pull this, and we have to be on the live expression. It's important to be on the live expression, so let's pull that, and we've got the sensor val, and the value is already 0. Okay, so we just need to run the debugger mode here, and we should be getting the value of the ADC as soon as that enter that. You can see, right, 976. That's basically the same value we are getting there. So let's go all the way down, and you can see there's some degrees of stability as well here. So this is ADC Continuous Conversion Method. Great, so that basically it for ADC Continuous Conversion Mode. Right now we're standing with the number of discrete level at 359, 360. So if you take this value here, you multiply it with your voltage level. Basically, that will be the voltage in which your potentiometer is subjected to. You multiply it, you're going to get the value, the voltage, right, at the ADC pin, basically the orange wire here, which is a green wire here. You're going to get an approximate value. It might not exactly be the same because obviously there are noises and other parameters that are involved in this setup here. Basically, so if we can just quickly measure it here while we are in it here. So if I put my multimeter here, and I will be measuring, oops, that's my negative, and this is a positive. So I'm measuring about 4.82 volt across my potentiometer. I should be getting 5 volt, but understand that I'm running on a USB, where it will actually be better to run on an external power supply that will be more stable and giving me a 5 volt. But now on my ADC pin that's going into the STM32, if I measure there, you can see I'm getting 1.18 volt. Now this 1.18 volt is what is translating to the 359 discrete level. So in other words, if you take this 360 value, which is the number of discrete level that we are right now, and you multiply to your ADC resolution, which in this case, since we are running on a 10-bit, right, so that will be the voltage that we just measure here. So in my case, it's 4.82 volt. You divide it by 1023, right? That will give you a 0.0 something 4 millivolt, right? And you multiply it with this value here, you should be able to get the voltage that we just measure across here, which was 1.1 to 1.16 something, right? So that's basically how you can verify your ADC accuracy and do some fine tuning, maybe some filtering, eliminate the noises, and you should be able to get your ADC working as accurately as possible. So that is it, guys, for this tutorial. If you found it useful, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to CMTEQ channel for more tutorial of this nature. Until next time, cheers.